Hello and welcome back to Renew You at Home. If you're watching this, you're going to have seen me looking like this a few episodes now. I promise I'm only doing one more after this. Looking like this, but I'm getting ready for some festive time off. Today, though, when I release this, it's early January. So I want to talk to you about something that I think so many of us quietly label the wrong way, and that's motivation. Because I hear it all the time from clients, from friends, and honestly, from myself at times too. I just feel unmotivated. I can't seem to get going. I don't know what's wrong with me lately. And I want to gently offer a different perspective. What if you're not actually unmotivated at all? What if you're simply uninspired? The problem with the word unmotivated is when we tell ourselves that we're unmotivated, there's often a layer of judgment underneath it. Sounds like something's missing or broken or lacking. But motivation isn't something we're meant to generate endlessly from within. Motivation is a response. It's a reaction to interest, to curiosity, meaning, or desire. And when life becomes repetitive, predictable, or overly focused on responsibility, motivation doesn't disappear because we're failing. It disappears because nothing's calling us forward. So, how does inspiration quietly disappear then? It really vanishes overnight. It fades slowly. It gets diluted by routine, responsibility, mental load's a big one, and doing what's necessary rather than what's interesting, what lights us up. Days start to look the same, weeks blur together, life becomes about maintaining rather than exploring. And none of this is dramatic, it's very normal, especially for busy women who are constantly holding things together. But when inspiration goes quiet, everything starts to feel harder, even things we used to enjoy, even things we know are good for us. But rest alone doesn't always fix that. Here's something I think we don't talk about nearly enough. Rest is essential. You'll hear me talking about rest all the time, but rest alone doesn't always bring our motivation back. Sometimes we're not tired because we're doing too much. We're tired because we're doing too little of what actually lights us up. Too little novelty, too little creativity, too little stimulation that feels nourishing rather than draining. And so we rest and we still feel flat. We slow down and still feel disconnected. Not because the rest didn't work, but because something else is missing. Inspiration is a form of energy. It's energizing in a very different way to adrenaline. It doesn't rush you, it doesn't pressure you, it gently pulls you forward. The feeling of interest, curiosity, that feels nice. I'd like to do more of that. And the beautiful thing about inspiration is that it doesn't need to be big. It doesn't need to change your life. It just needs to remind you that you're still alive to things. The subtle signs that you're uninspired, not unmotivated, might be that you notice you go through motions but you don't feel engaged. You feel bored but also too tired to change anything. You scroll aimlessly without really enjoying it. You feel disconnected from yourself, not overwhelmed. It's not burnout, it's stagnation. It's incredibly common, especially in seasons where life has been about coping rather than choosing. So, how do we bring the inspiration back? And that's the part that I really want you to hear. Inspiration doesn't come in It doesn't come from forcing yourself to try harder. It comes from exposure to something new, something different, something that makes you feel curious again. It might look like learning something just because it interests you, no other reason. Listening to a new podcast or music that you wouldn't usually choose. Changing your routine slightly, and I'll talk more about that next week. Booking something purely because it sounds nice. Allowing yourself to want something without justifying it. Small things, but intentional ones. Letting yourself want again. For many women, this is actually the hardest part. We get very good at silencing our desire, at prioritising practicality, at choosing what's sensible over what's exciting. And over time, we stop asking ourselves, what do I want? Not because we don't care, but because it feels inconvenient or indulgent or unnecessary. But desire isn't frivolous, it's information. It tells you where your energy wants to go. Motivation follows meaning. When something feels meaningful, even in a small way, motivation will always follow naturally. You don't have to push yourself. You don't have to discipline yourself. You don't have to overhaul your life. You just need something to respond to. And once that spark is there, even gently, things start to move again. Your energy shifts, your posture changes, your mood lifts. Not dramatically, but noticeably. I'm going to tell you about something actually. Is last year in the summer, I went pottery painting with my mum and my sister, and I had an amazing time, and it gave me this little creativity outlet, and it was in a really calm space in Oundle. They give you cups of tea and you can buy cakes, and I told myself, this is what I want to do. Every so often I want to come here, and I felt so motivated. I felt really good when I'd left, and I knew that if I did that more, it'd make me feel good again. And what happened? My free days came up. There was always the reasons of all the other things that I should be doing instead. And still, I have not been back pottery painting. So while we're in this New Year's resolution phase that I don't particularly agree with, what is one thing that I'm setting myself up for this year that made me feel really good, that will get me motivated again? I'm going to go back pottery painting. I am absolutely going to go back doing that. And if you take anything from this, what I'd really like you to take from it is to have that reframe. To next time you catch yourself thinking, I just feel unmotivated today, try reframing it as, I might be craving inspiration. Instead of asking, how do I force myself to do more? Ask, what could I introduce that might feel a little more interesting? For me, that's the pottery painting. That's something that I know feels really good for me, that I want to do more of. And I know that when I do more of that, that's going to open up so many other doors. So your reminder for today is that you're not broken, you're not lazy, and you're certainly not failing. You are a human being who needs stimulation, curiosity, and meaning just as much as you need rest. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to change anything. You just need to let yourself feel drawn to something again. Mine happens to be out of the house, but there are ways I can bring it into the house. Yours could be anywhere you like, or anything you like. Inspiration doesn't shout, it whispers, and when you start listening, motivation will find its way back, quietly, naturally, and sustainably. Until next time, take that gentle care.